the Hemp and Coffee Exchange out of Zephyrhills, Florida. I want to thank you guys for taking the moment to watch and to see what we have to say. I'm going to bring Mr. Jeremy Denny on here in 1 second. I just want to remind you guys, if you have any questions or any comments throughout this, please go ahead and ask those. Fill it out below. We will respond to it, whether it's now or after this episode. I will always go back, and I'm sure Jeremy. Let's go ahead and welcome him. Bring him on here in 1 second. Well, hello, Mr. Jeremy Denny.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
How's it going with you? How you doing?
Dealing with the situation day by day, adjusting as we go.
Okay.
I can't complain too much.
Well, that's good. That's good. So everybody knows, obviously, we're in different times and a different situation currently. Would you like to tell the audience about yourself, about your company?
Yeah, for sure. So I own a coffee roasting company. We focus on healthier, cleaner coffee from the ground pretty much to the bag. So we source it from families that are mostly single origin, single farm, proper viticulture, growing techniques, rainfall, elevation. All these are factors we look into, and then how they dry and process, package, and ship as well. And then we roast that coffee to have lower carcinogenics, lower mycotoxins. And then a majority of that product we blend in with either organic hemp seeds or organic hemp heart, which offer a bunch of benefits on water-soluble nutrients that go into the coffee. No THC, no CBD, no cognitive effects, just 100% healthy nutritional coffee. We also offer a bunch of different single origin whole bean coffees for more traditional accounts and people that are a little bit scared or worried about the hemp in their coffee currently. But we're always trying to change that stigma. But in Zephyrhills, we have our roasting facility and a coffee shop where we do a bunch of fun food stuffs, like offer hemp oil-based Neon Day flan, our favorite flan, along with cheesecake companies and a few other brands as well.
Awesome. I appreciate that, by the way. Now that you mentioned it, have you had other flans before? Or actually taking mine on there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, out of all the packaged goods we have in house that I don't make myself, that's the flan's the one I go to a lot. I like to dress it up and do almost like a sundae style. I'll throw like pistachio butter, some hemp seeds on there, a little bit extra honey, some oats, even like turmeric, stuff like that's good too.
Yeah, I've actually reposted several pictures of some of the things that you've actually done with my flan. You foo-foo it up really good.
Yeah, I kind of have a habit of doing that.
Good. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, man, let everybody know tell me, what changes have you made under the current circumstances?
All right. So the first big foreshadowing thing, as soon as this started developing about 5 weeks ago in its infancy here, we have always had a website we do with wholesale accounts and other things, but we never really had a solid online shop where you can get all of our products from remotely. We handle most of our stuff direct by call. We like to talk to our customers, give them the exact product that they need. So we spent a lot of time, as soon as this became a minute issue, trying to really backlog all of our product and write complicated descriptions out for everything, so it'd be easier for us to sell our product remotely if necessary. So we started building a website right away for full functioning, which is launched now, hempcoffeeexchange.com. If you hit that shop now link, it takes you to pretty much everything that is in our store that is not a liquid beverage item. Obviously, can't buy a delivered cappuccino there right now. The second thing that affected us really big is, as of last Friday, we actually closed up our shop. We are a mom and pop, which is two guys, but he is a single father and needs to concentrate on his family and his situation. And I have a 5-acre ranch with about 40 different animals on it. And so it gives us time to separate and focus on those things and keep a safe environment. We are in a medical plaza. We are the only retail place in an entire medical plaza of over 300 parking places. So we are dealing with a lot of patients that are either coming out of getting great news or going into bad news. And so we're there usually to see people, to brighten their day every day, to make them a little happier when they leave. And it was very unfortunate we had to close our doors to this situation.
But you probably did the right thing, as most of us, especially being there with a lot of medical patients and stuff. I mean, all the precautions you possibly.
What was the last part of that? I'm sorry.
You're taking all the precautions that you possibly can. I mean,
Yeah,
you
right.
did the right.
Exactly. We want to be ahead of it. Right now, technically, we could still be a to-go service only business, and we operated that way for a week. But being in our environment and with the type of customer base we have, it's not worth us to risk our customers' health over trying to sell some coffee. So we took the executive decision, and just like today, I went up to the coffee shop, and some more of our elderly customers that aren't as internet friendly, they called me or left us a message online, and I hand delivered them some product or had them meet me at the shop. So we're doing all we can to support our regulars, and also we do ship all over the world. So we're constantly trying to keep up with a little bit of everything and expand our brand, and hopefully we can recover from this pretty well. We'll see what happens though.
So if somebody wanted to buy your product online, where would they go? How can they find your stuff?
All right, so there's a lot of ways to get to our page. If you type in hemp and coffee in Google, chances are you're going to find our brands. We're one of the first ones. We're the only coffee roasting company in the world that actually roasts their beans and blends it with hemp seed or hemp heart. And when we got started about 4 or 5 years ago, we're one of 2 or 3 brands in the entire world that was developing a product like this. I seen the potential in it, so I tried to pretty much target every single space of that product and seeing how we could improve it and make it better. And we're constantly learning, try to make it taste better, try to make it healthier. But all of our updates are always on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can go to that hempcoffeeexchange.com again. And that has 2 5,000 word dissertations that I wrote on hemp and one on coffee as well. So you can educate yourself, or hit that shop now button and it'll take you to a storefront where you can buy all of our product, a lot of our CBD companies' products, a lot of the artists that we work with, and of course, some delicious edibles from like Neon de Flan, which it will be direct shipped cold, and he'll handle all of those. But you can go to our website and pick that up as well. So there's some coffee in there, a little bit of CBD, maybe a package of tea, and also pick you up some flan all delivered to your door. Can't beat that.
Not at all. You know what? I know that I've spoken to you about several things, and on coffee and CBD, you're extremely knowledgeable, which is really cool to actually talk to somebody like yourself, because you I'm not gonna say you know a lot. You know a lot more than I do, and a lot more than most people do about both hemp and coffee, which is really cool. So if
Thanks.
anybody has a question, I'm sure that you'd be more than qualified to answer that.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm sure I'll be posting these links as well. You can always message me, tag me, post me. We work with people. That's what we do, and we're not what I call snake oil salesmen. My favorite thing to do is not sell someone a product if it's not right for them, but educate them. For me, I always start out with dieting, sleep, fitness, physical activity, see where those cure, and then plug in all the other nutritional substances, or try to take products that you want in your diet or your daily routine and just try to get the healthiest versions of them. So we work directly with people in that area too. So it's not just about selling products. We're a company that really wants to try to make a difference in an industry that people aren't always being fed the proper things.
That's definitely one thing that I've always noticed about you. That's exactly what you do. You just try to educate, and you're not just your typical salesperson. Of course, you have a business that you need to run,
Yeah.
but you're honest and everything, which I really appreciate. Also, I'll say this to everybody out there: the hemp and coffee that he sells is absolutely amazing.
I appreciate
That's
that.
my favorite coffee that you have to offer there. I'm pretty simple when it comes to coffee. I do like some cream in my coffee. I'm trying to get away from that, but I don't put anything else in it. And absolutely love your coffee. Your coffee is
That
awesome.
coffee con leche runs in your blood.
It does. I can't get away from it.
Yeah,
It's,
and
it's
the cream actually, if you want to talk a little bit of health things, depending on what source of cream you use and what you put in there, coffee can be mildly acidic, and if you put a little cream in there, it can cut the acid a little bit. And there's been long-term studies that show that the damage that maybe coffee can do to bone degradation over time, that little bit of cream can actually curb that, like things like osteoporosis and such. So there can be a benefit in there if you use a healthy amount of cream. I'm a black coffee drinker mostly just because, once again, I'm a snob, so I like to taste the bean and try to perfect the simplest part of it before I throw anything in there. But at the shop, we really push sugars and getting people off of those and finding other ways to flavor their coffee that are healthier. It's okay, put it whatever you want in there, but ultimately trying to move towards a healthier angle is our whole motive.
So there you are, educating people again. Like I said, you're definitely really knowledgeable, and it's really cool to hear all the stuff. Now, the coffee itself, I personally agree. I mean, I agree with you as far as sometimes a little acidic, which is why I like to use the cream. I just love doing that.
Yeah.
But I definitely also like to drink coffee sometimes, depending on the type of coffee, black, like, and see what it does taste like. And that's something that I'm doing now. So that's what I've been doing for forever.
So one of the things I do when I order black coffee places too, and anyone that's been out with coffee, been out with me and order coffee, I have one order that I always lay down. If it's a good coffee place or a place that has an espresso machine, I usually do Americano with 2 ice cubes. Those 2 ice cubes will cut that temperature down. So like adding that cream drops the temperature, allows you to get into the beverage a little quicker. Plus, espresso, if it's done right and poured right, has a little bit more viscosity to it. So it'll be a little bit cooler, a little thicker. So you get more like a cream-like texture and that cool kind of temperature. And so that's like my beverage I go to, just because I like to try to maximize tasting the actual coffee. And it's a way to kind of represent people that might add cream in, something they might want to try.
So I was brought up on espresso. I mean, if you were tired, you drank espresso. If you
Yeah.
had to run, drink espresso. What do you and the espresso that I believe, I mean, that I drink now, that I've brought up with, being Cuban and stuff,
Yeah,
is
some dark roast.
yeah. So how do you compare that? What do you think about Bustelo? Like it? Give me your
So,
feedback on Bustelo.
all right, so I'll give you kind of first. I'll tell you the basic difference in the finished cup of coffee, like brewed regular coffee, be it slow pour over, French press. Those are all either infusion or decoction methods. Pretty much infusion, if it drips through the coffee and proceeds through like espresso, a pour over a drip machine, that's an infusion. So you're infusing the liquid with the contents of that ground substrate. Decoction method would be like a French press, where you're actually soaking the grounds in the coffee and then pressing and leaving the grounds within. Also like Turkish coffee and stuff like that. So with espresso, you're taking high pressure liquid and you're forcing it through the beans. You actually have less caffeine, but more flavor. You're pulling out all the oils of the bean. And the better you get at like getting the grind size right, getting the weight of the grounds and the weight of the water that you're putting through the grounds like just perfect, the more you can maximize that flavor. But initially with actual espresso shot, if you're doing like a double shot and having a 12-ounce coffee, that 12-ounce coffee is going to probably have anywhere from 10 to 15 milligrams more caffeine than the actual espresso. So it's a funny misconception that people always think espresso gets you more jack. It just has way more flavor. And another little tidbit I'd throw in there is the more this comes to the Cafe Bustelo, the longer you roast a coffee, the darker it gets. It'll begin to express oils as you get towards that process. You're really breaking down the essential aromatics of the coffee, and you're creating more carbon from burning. So you get a stronger, deeper, burnt-like coffee, which I like to call sometimes American or American Cuban coffee, has that burnt, deep, bold character. It actually has a lot less caffeine. The longer you roast the bean, the caffeine goes this way. So a light roast like Ethiopian has a lot of caffeine. And then, say if a light roast Ethiopian out of a drip machine will have a lot of caffeine. But a burnt Cafe Bustelo going through an espresso machine will have a lot less caffeine.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have bet everything against that.
Yep, that's what everyone always thinks. It's a common misconception within coffee. But yeah, as you over roast something, or that's what I say, but as you can, get higher in the roast temperatures and a lower roast time, you burn the coffee quicker, which is a common flavor profile people like, and it does make some damn good espresso as far as flavor. I can't, argue with that. But our company aiming towards health, we try to lighter roast, lower down that carcinogenic, lower down the ash buildup, and we never go to oil expression for our brand.
That's news to me, man. And I'm glad you said that because every time, I mean, I lived in Miami for quite some time, and I
Yeah, oh yeah,
remember
so did I. Yeah,
every day. I mean, we'd have. I mean, I don't know how much coffee I drink in a day. I mean, it was one espresso. If I didn't drink
yeah.
one espresso a day, something's wrong. And man, if I drink one espresso, I definitely, you can feel it.
All right,
Versus
so we'll get another
I
little
don't.
health lesson here. The reason you're filling it is because that dark, deep roast coffee, and especially Cafe Bustelo, they're not sourcing from the best farms. It's a huge company, so they reach out to, I don't know them particular, but I'd say hundreds to thousands of different farms. And those farms don't always have the exact same highest quality procedures as, like, say, single origin, single farm, in a smaller scale that we deal with. Not saying anything bad necessarily about it, but they're not putting the quality into the beans. So it gets left with something called mycotoxins, and those mycotoxins pretty much react negatively in the body. So things that people often say, oh, this is because caffeine, eye twitches, heart palpitations, jitters, stomach aches, those are not usually caused by caffeine. High dosages and sensitivity issues, it can, but it's usually from mycotoxins, which are toxins from, like, if you eat something bad or moldy, which a mycotoxin is a type of bacterial mold. When you consume that in cheap coffees, like, let's just say Folgers and Cafe Bustelo, and we'll leave it at two different brand names. And when you use those and consume those, you're actually consuming toxins, not in a large amount, very small amount, but you have a hypersensitivity to it. So your immune system goes into fighting them, and a lot of times that's how it comes out, is into a muscle twitch or something like that.
Interesting, very interesting, especially for me because, like I said earlier, I mean, I used to drink espresso all day long, and I think it's caught up with me. Whereas recently, the last few years, I've been actually drinking decaf. I think I
Yeah.
came to, I'm sure I came and told you that when I was there one time that I feel like I'm either caffeine sensitive or something, or maybe it's just the fact that I'm just drinking coffee with toxins in it, just bad stuff.
Yeah, I think it's probably a combination of things. I don't think it's necessary or caffeine sensitivity. You might not want to consume that much, but you could sure be able to consume a baseline amount of caffeine. It's probably the substrate which in you're consuming that. A high acid based coffee, the acidity's not right on it, has high carcinogenics because it's burnt. You're pretty much consuming a product that is like coffee ash, to be sarcastic and extreme in that description. But yeah, it's really a product that is like ordering a over well done steak, not just a well done one, that kind of thing. All your nutrients are dead. It doesn't taste like much. It's not very good for your stomach.
Hmm. Well, then I guess I'm gonna go back to the hemp and coffee exchange here the next day or two, get some more coffee to get me through this quarantine without the jitters.
There you go. Yeah, and that's another thing is, not to speak on our brand in particular, because there's a lot of amazing coffee roasters out there, and we are constantly trying to work towards their level of the people we really respect and really like. Our focus is that healthier side. So I'm not saying we have the best tasting coffee, but when it comes to like really hitting those health points, we do a pretty damn good job, and we're always trying to get better at it.
Yeah, it's really good coffee. You definitely do a good job for sure.
Appreciate that.
For sure.
Yeah, I
All right,
always
brother.
at the actual shop, we always say, the farmers are who does it. They do all the work. They're working with the plants for months, really paying attention to it, putting the whole livelihood on the line, and they do most of the work. When we get it, we spend 20 minutes here and there trying to match roast profiles, and then we get to reap the rewards of test roasting espressos and drinking the byproduct. They're sweating in fields and putting in all the labor. So, they really the coffee growing industry is a pretty amazing one if you're sourcing your coffee from a good source.
So not to give away any secrets or anything on your behalf, but is there a certain grower that you go with? Is there certain companies that you deal with that are better than others? And how long?
Yes, there is for sure. And actually, Brett, my business partner and our roast master for our company, he does most of all of our sourcing. He really focuses on particular brands. We like to always have some organic, beans actually in. Our roaster is not certified organic, which you have to have. to put that on your package. But we do use organic product. We just don't have an organic certified machine that does it. Yeah. So, and organic is a certification you kind of buy into. I'm not saying that it should be discredited, but there's a lot of things that are just as healthy, just as clean that don't have organic, and then there's stuff that doesn't have the organic that's way better than the actual organic certification. But that's a kind of a tangent conversation. But Brett, what he does is he reaches out to one of the companies we work with is Ally Coffee, and they're a distributor. And they go out and they find the best coffee there is, and they're a good community of people, and great customer service as well. And we can tell them what kind of coffee we want, get information on the family and the farm location. So they work as a middleman. And then we also regularly, because we live in Florida, we have a lot of family members that are Hispanic, and they live in places like Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, Honduras. And we actually get in touch with individual families that just bring in samples for us to check out because they own a farm or they own 15 acres. What I will say, our core bean, we always have around, and since day one, we've always, not day one, but since we locked in this farm about 3-4 years ago, we always get the same Honduran Marcala bean. It's an organic bean. I call it one of the most balanced beans on the planet. It's a little bit of chocolate. It's mild. We always have it in stock. We blend our hemp seed with it. We blend our heart with it. We have it in whole bean. We use it in a brand of Kaju coffee, which is a brand we do, has lime mains, mushroom, and cinnamon and other things in it. So yeah, Honduran Marcala, which is a South American, coffee bean, is probably one of our personal favorites. And then besides from that, we always try to have an Ethiopian around because they express a lot of fruit forward characters, not as much chocolate, maybe like blueberry and fresh hay, contrary to something that's a little bit more like, darker roast or darker full body bean.
You say fresh hay?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Like a Ethiopian Sidamo, to me, a really good, fresh, light roasted one. When you hit it on your nose, it smells like blueberries, like you're walking through a blueberry field, and you get like the hay, the grass, the pollen, and the blueberry all in there, and it's like it's all in that cup.
Very interesting.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's pretty cool. How long does it usually take for, like, if I wanted to start, I got some property in Georgia. If I wanted to start growing some coffee there, how long does it usually take from beginning to?
All right, so this is a great lead in actually, because you can't grow coffee in Georgia, not outdoor at least. Well, you can grow the coffee tree plant, but the actual coffee only grows in a select hemisphere. So if you're in that hemisphere, top and bottom, you can grow it. So if you pull up a chart and see where the mass producers of coffee are, there's a line that kind of runs through Brazil, area, and it goes through Africa and Ethiopia, but it all lines up. And that is your coffee growing region for Arabica and Robusta coffee too, as the two main types of coffee that are grown. And it goes all the way through the Middle East as well. And those are the regions that grow coffee the best. Now, here in Florida, we have a lot of, massively progressive universities. And I want to think it's Florida State University or Florida University, which they're going to hate that I put those two against each other because I can't remember which one. But they actually developed a pilot program to try to indoor grow coffee a few years back, and they had some success, but it's real expensive to grow coffee indoors. And you'd be selling that coffee for well over $100 a pound. And unfortunately, it's not a big market for that out there right now. So unless you're in a coffee growing region, you're kind of out of luck unless you want to put some big bucks into it.
Okay, I didn't know that. So since you just said expensive, I remember many moons ago, I'm going to say probably 20 years ago, I think it was, I went to Jamaica.
All right.
And I had a very good friend.
Blue Mountain Coffee.
Huh?
Blue Mountain Coffee.
Absolutely. So yeah. I'm a water connoisseur. I know that's kind of crazy, but I am. I will go water anywhere in the world, and I mean, up to date so far, and I live in Zephyrhills, which is deemed one of the best waters. It's really good water. They have a lot of.
That's the claim. City of pure water.
Huh?
Is this supposed to be the city of pure water?
Yeah, I mean the plant is literally 150 yards from my house.
Nice.
But, true story. Well, I'm telling you, the water that I had there in Jamaica, and again, this is about 20 years ago, was definitely the best water I ever had. It was bottled too.
Huh.
which is kind of strange. But I mean, in plastic. So I was told when I was there, and I didn't know much about coffee. The only thing I ever knew about coffee was, like I told you, I grew up on espresso. That was espresso. Your typical American coffee for me was just watered down coffee. That's all
Yeah,
it was.
it was.
So
Yeah.
so when when I actually had their coffee, I noticed that there was a difference. Again, I'm not a coffee professional or anything like that, which is why I have you on here.
Yeah.
But what's the difference? Is it truly just the fact that the water, the type of water that the plants are there are,
It's a little bit of all
live
that.
on?
All right. So Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee is consistently one of the most expensive coffees on the planet. And it's not just from one farm or anything. It's actually grown in a lot of places. And unfortunately, the way the coffee industry works, you can put just a small herb percentage of that coffee and blend it with other coffees and still claim it's that coffee. You just can't put single origin on there. So real 100% Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee is a delicious coffee, but in my opinion, like compared to like the Honduras Marcala, and the price difference is probably 20 to 30 times more expensive. Yeah, times. We're talking like 40 to $80 a pound coffee for Jamaican Blue Mountain, and then we're talking maybe less than $20 a pound for less than $4 or $5 a pound for Honduran, and this is green bean before roasting, processing, and such. Uh, so comparatively, it's not worth the money. But that being said, it is delicious and amazing and high test well coffee. I would say like the wine industry, how you have like $20 bottles that are blind taste nearly as good as $200 bottles. That $200 bottle is still amazing, but it's just not worth the price difference. So it's kind of the same thing with Jamaican Blue Mountain, but it is because of the rainfall, the elevation, probably the humidity. It's an island, so it doesn't trap in a lot of different debris and smog and stuff like that. If you go to a more metropolitan city that grows coffee or a higher density population area, I'm sure that has some effect. So I'm sure it's a real pure, clean coffee. Is the reason
Right.
it tastes like it does.
And I'll tell you what, you mentioned the price of the coffee. I didn't know. I had somebody ask me to bring them back Jamaican coffee. Sure, no problem. I
Yeah,
go there and I remember that I bought it was $30 a bag or
a
or
sample
40
bag. Yeah,
no, it was a pound. It was a pound back there. It's on 20. So I ended up bringing 4 bags and I paid, there you wheel and deal. That's what I did. And I bought 4 bags for $50 for 4 bags.
that's not
I've
bad.
never I've never spent so much money in my life on coffee.
That's not bad though. Yeah, coffee's went up a lot in the last like 15 years. If you look back at the market on coffee, it's went up, which it should be. I preach to people regularly at the coffee shop that coffee should be way more expensive than it is. But places like Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, they've all kind of given an artificial mentality of the price of what coffee is. Starbucks is a bad example because they're not making their money on good coffee. They're making their money on mixed, sweetened beverages, really. But amongst like pure straight black coffee, it should be more expensive because more money should be going back to the farm, and back to the people that grow it, and they can grow healthier coffee and supply healthier coffee for the rest of the world. That way, right now, coffee is the second most consumed prepared beverage on the planet and the most traded physical item next to oil on the planet. So it's a huge, giant market. And if we improve that market across the board, it would also improve people's health across the board, be it from the grower's lifestyle and the consumer's final product.
That's very cool, man. Again, educating. You're very knowledgeable, man. You know a lot. That's for sure.
Yeah, we dig
Yep.
into the things we're passionate about for sure.
You have to.
Yes, sir.
That's very cool. So, my friend, again, you're in Zephyrhills, Florida. If
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
wants to get you, they can visit you. Let them know where they can visit you.
Yeah, check us out on Facebook for sure. THC Exchange is the extension on Facebook, as well as our hashtag. Check us out on Instagram. You can search the Hemp and Coffee Exchange or Coffee Exchange, and you'll find us. And then if you'd like to buy any of those products and throw in a flan at the end of your checkout, go to hempcoffeeexchange.com.
All right, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes,
I
sir.
greatly Again, if anybody has any comments or questions, please leave it below. We will both come back for however long. We'll get some updates on your comments and questions, and we'll be both glad to answer those for you. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it so much. And I will be seeing you soon.
Yes, sir. Stay safe, Joe. Good talking to you, brother. Talk to you later.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks again for sticking around, watching this episode with Mr. Jeremy Denny of the Hemp and Coffee Exchange over in Zephyrhills. This man absolutely really does have amazing coffee. The mixture of both the hemp and the coffee bean itself, he'll be able to tell you more about it, of what it does. But for me, it just really kind of makes it really smooth. I was telling you guys before that I really like to have half and half or cream in my coffee. With the way that I don't know what they do or how they do it exactly, but when they have that mix between both the hemp and the coffee bean itself, it's really smooth. I don't need to even mix it with anything. And that was something that Brent actually did for me and had me try, Jeremy's partner. So, go by there if you can. If not, just go. Actually, you can't go by there right now, but whenever all this situation is over, do go by there. If not, just go ahead and place your orders with him. So, again, guys, thank you so much for staying with us. If you're still here, remember to add the questions or ask the questions and make comments. If you're somebody that you want me to interview, anything that you want to see on the show, please ask that question. Tomorrow is going to be episode number 4. I am going to have Mr. Luis Capdevila from La Teresita restaurant out of Tampa, Florida. Extremely popular. I think he was listed as one of the top 10 Spanish restaurants. I may be wrong on that, but this guy is an amazing man himself. He's also a pastor. This guy's a very interesting man. Unfortunately, recently he had some health issues, but he came back very strong. I've been to his restaurant hundreds of times growing up. He was down the street from me, and I stopped in there when it was just a small little cafe and had my café con leche and pan con mantequilla almost every weekend while I was around. So again, guys, thanks again. Tune back tomorrow. It's roughly going to be around this time, 4 o'clock tomorrow. I don't put out a time because it's dependent on what's going on with the coronavirus and the COVID-19, and everybody's, I'm interviewing business owners, so I apologize about not having a set time. But just one thing that you can do is like us and click the live notification so that you can get live notifications when we're going to come on, and that'll help you stay in touch with us and watch us live. Thanks again, everybody. I appreciate it. Stay tuned tomorrow. We'll see you back again.